The Void Spirit's just a little bit tankier, and the Axe timing is still very quite strong. And at the same time, Storm Spirit is a Brile classic, and it lanes incredibly well versus the Void Spirit.
Yeah, so it denies any chance of this Void Spirit being effective in mid, and
10
maybe they'll
seconds
then run it
remaining.
as the off lane and kind of sacrifice the position, but Void Spirit is still one of
5
those heroes
seconds
that needs like
remaining.
the levels in order to gain that sort of advantage in the early point of the game. You get
The
to run
only
around with
issue
the
is
levels, but
with Unknown, I don't think Drakeel really plays that type of offlaner. I think it's got to be a Robo Z Void Spirit, and they're probably going to pick up Drakeel's hero here, but I feel like it has to be the Pit Lord because really no other hero I think feels quite as nice. And if they're not going for the Pit Lord, then I mean it's really kind of all out there. I mean they could still go for, let's say, the Sand King. Sand King Mirana is still quite a
Radiant
strong
taken
lane.
back.
all right, well, it looks like they're
Okay.
gonna pick the safe first. They want to hold on to this off lane pick as long as possible. Then
Dire team ban.
And we've seen specifically in this matchup, if the
Radiant
Medusa's net
team
worth
ban.
can outweigh the Storm's mana pool, it is going to be rough. Yeah, and they ban out the Pit Lord. Perfect ban versus them. But this matchup is kind of difficult because once it's really up to the other safe laner, and that's why they're taking out the PL because Storm Spirit, if he doesn't have enough mana to kite the
10
Medusa, because you
seconds
have to zip
remaining.
in, you have to force her ultimate, you have to threaten her, and then you need to get out
5 seconds
immediately.
remaining.
And they don't really have too great disengage, but they are very mobile on Team Undying right now.
Dire team ban.
Lycan ban as well. Very good bans coming out from both teams now.
they don't like Undying is lacking in that push department, or at least like the sort of early game core lineup,
Radiant
because Storm
team
Spirit needs that little bit of build up still. So the Lycan ban is a really good one in that scenario. The PL I feel is just because they picked up this Medusa, and PL is one of the stronger heroes against that, and they don't actually have anything to deal with that. But I mean, looking at the cores on Undying, their farm is very
10
specific
seconds
on like
remaining.
at points in times. They could go for somewhat of a greedy
5
last pick
seconds
safe
remaining.
lane, but I was gonna say Terrorblade, but it's not good against Medusa. They could still go Weaver.
Yeah, I think the Weaver is most likely the best pickup. It's a little bit scary versus Clockwork just because you don't have that guaranteed get out of the route. But for Unknown, I'm thinking of offlaners. They
Dire
only have three
team.
seconds left. And
Slaughter is
okay,
not. It's not actually the first one that would come to mind against this lineup, because he is. I don't want to say he's heavily reliant on being able to get the bash stun off, but like in a game against the Pangolier and like the reverse burst that can come from the
10
supports,
seconds remaining.
it doesn't feel great, but it's another form of initiation they
5
could use, and
seconds
it is that
remaining.
lockdown that would be able to hold down the Storm Spirit upon entry.
well, and this is sort of again back to the issue of picking both of your supports in the first phase. We see six of the best offliners taken out. Undying were able to pick the one that they wanted out of it and draft around everything else. And now they're just looking for a tomato hero that can lane up versus the Slardar, and I'm guessing we're just going to see the troll, and then Slardar's going to have a really terrible time bottom.
Yeah, this feels like a very easy troll game. This might even be like a Diffusal Rush troll. We've seen that at least a couple of times, the S and Y into Diffusal instead of going for the Maelstrom and then the S and Y and then all the other basic core items. Because even Diffusal feels really good on this game, not just for the Medusa mana burn alone, but like there's no real disengage for Unknown. Like you've got the Slardar move speed and the Void Spirit. That's really about it. Those are the two heroes that have the easy escape. Mirana Leap is great, but I mean, once your troll is farmed, they'd be able to get that kind of catch out. And
What it feels like Unknown's sort of run out of bans, because it's not just the Weaver troll. There's even an Ursa still in the pool, and that hero would also just make this game so difficult for them.
yeah, there's definitely enough run at them heroes still available here. It feels like it is an Undying draft just with those picks alone, like going back again and again. You don't really want to open with your double support lineup this early. I get it that that is what a lot of people are starting to come back to, is that they are going back to the classical draft of wanting to pick up their supports at the very beginning and then blend in with usually the off lane and then the safe lane, then the mid lane pick as the last. But in scenarios like this where it's two heroes where you know what their setup baseline is, like you could work around it instantaneously.
Oh, and it's a very common mentality when you have first pick to do this, just because you do have the rearranged pick order in the second phase where you do get kind of that mic drop moment where you slam the Medusa. But okay,
This is
that's much different.
Yeah, this is none of the 4 possible heroes we were thinking that was in this pool.
Well, and I mean they are going to literally run at them now. This isn't the best lane for the Slardar, but it's a lane that I think Drakeel can actually exist in, whereas the other three heroes, maybe not Weaver. Weaver does struggle slightly, but I definitely think they could still lane and do very well, especially versus Burna Burna. But this is a Tomato classic. He's played this hero so much, maybe not in officials, but a lot in pubs. And it still feels pretty good. He didn't really get a incredible buff. He didn't get a cool shard. Just rocket barrage hitting 2 targets, which is still very good, but nothing too flashy. But it's a very niche hero. Not many people play this nowadays.
Yeah, I think it is really just Tomato and maybe the occasional Fear pickup, I'd say. I would think Fear would pull out the random
The old
gyrocopter.
man, yeah, the old man gyro plan.
I
And I
mean,
mean,
he
I
pulled
think
out the life
Morphling was
stealer
even in the pool
yesterday or 2
too.
days ago. That was
That
an
is
interesting
true. That
one.
is true. Dusting off the lifesteal immortals. It's
Yeah, they're all gold for me, but like they're kind of like rusty gold now. Yeah.
it's all the dust. Nobody's keeping those or maintaining those. But I mean, I think Undying are really happy with where they're going because even if they go to that super late game
Prepare
versus the
for
Medusa,
battle.
I mean, we see time and time again how effective Storm Spirit is. He just doesn't have bad items. There's no item you feel bad about buying on Storm Spirit. You always get a good Orca timing, followed by the Bloodstone, and then after that, all your avenues open up. Whether you get the Ags, you get the Ag Shard. There's really no way to go wrong, I think, on this hero.
Oop.
Oh,
There's
first
our
pause.
NASA pause as always. Would not be the North American region without a pause, of course. Usually it's at the start.
And in these spirit versus spirit matchups, the only thing that Bryle and Robozy both need to be very careful of, and we probably will see very heavy rotations to those runes as we see even more when there's a spirit matchup, is Void Spirit can always throw the Aether Remnant out to make getting the rune even more difficult for Bryle. But it's at the same time, I feel like Undying have always been on it. Moon has always made a rotation for even Dubu. He gives Tomato enough space to really always have an effect on the runes, and we always see 4 or 5 heroes contesting nowadays because it's just so important. Ice Frog should probably add a second rune on the other side, but maybe next patch.
I mean, we had the double down runes before because it was
It was a real
whatever
rune and then a bounty on the other side.
Yeah. Like whatever rune wasn't the combat rune, it was always the bounty rune. But I think that was also the patch where they made it to where bounty runes only filled 2 bottle charges,
Yeah,
right?
2 instead of 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
That felt pretty bad. If you guessed wrong, you were pretty sad. But at least you had a bottle charge. I guess it would make the lanes even more hectic though, because then everybody would just stay in the lanes, and it would just be pure chance whether or not you get the rune. But say la vie. Maybe stuff for next patch.
They're not going to
But
bring that back.
no.
Never. That was where mids were literally just continually dominating. I think they saw this ward placement. At least they saw
Yeah,
Bryle's ward.
and we don't see them doing the running at your enemy mid laner's T1 tower with 4 heroes that we saw sort of on the first day we were casting. But Brow went for the conservative dire ward spot. Whenever a mid places it in their tower range, they're not unhappy,
Oh,
but they're just
what? Ooh, ah.
ooh, you lost one.
Undying's like, dude, this isn't a pub. Come on. Oh,
It's
man.
Brow farming tips. Brow farming tips.
Oh, if you actually got like the currency from this, that would be insane. Anyway, I think it was another courier bug. There was 2 courier bugs overall. But they did say lag. That might have been it as well.
Yeah, and RoboZ was the one that disconnected the first time around, so hopefully things will be sorted soon. I believe we saw the server was on US East, if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
Yeah, we're on US
And
East for this one, and likely game number 2 would be put on Peru. So that way it'd be even for both teams. They'd have one game to their home server.
yes, and hopefully, I mean, the lane that always suffers the most when there is latency involved is that mid lane. So Robozy should be able to hold his own up against Bryle, but I mean, we talk about the big rank 2 energy sometimes, and I mean, Bryle imbues that. He is individually one of the most skilled players in the region by far.
30 seconds to battle.
Well, they'll be able to put that skill to the test. I mean, it is still feeling like more of a one-sided draft, more or less. And you actually see Undying, they're doing their hero rotations already. Tomato was, I think he was actually down in the bot lane for a little while there, or like hovering mid to figure out where he was going. I mean,
And
it's
they are
not
hiding their lanes.
exactly.
The battle
I mean, looking at
begins.
Medusa, I mean, you could even run Gyro versus Medusa. It still wouldn't be that bad, but I mean, you want to be able to have a good contest in the lane.
Yeah, and they still want. Oh, it's actually interesting. Prada's trying to prod and see where the ward is, and he actually guesses wrong a little bit by taking those tower shots to the right of the tower. But they did get the Clockwork versus Shadow Shaman, and that's something they definitely wanted in this laning phase, just to give Moon Meander a little bit of a harsher time down in the bot lane.
Well, it just means Moon Meander's just never going to spec into Shackle, and he's just going to continue to burst him down with another shock. You see Prada's already trying to be aggressive, though, like you were talking about. It does a lot of damage at level 1, especially if you're standing on top of creeps. Moon Meander's, look at this, not afraid to just click into burn a
No,
burn.
not
He's
afraid
already
at
at
all.
no HP. Like one more Ether Shock and just maybe 2 right clicks. That'll be enough.
And it's just because they had that triple wave or 3 creeps just going into them. And Prada, nice little block of the small or of the large camp. But Moon Meander, I mean, he's fearless. He sees the Medusa's regen. He kind of knows his limits on the hero, and he's just going to continue to be this very annoying shaman.
I mean, he wanted to try to get some good damage in before he ended up hitting level 2, because the Mana Shield is going to create a lot of damage negation. But, I mean, this is not really like a 1 lane already, but Moon Meander can do this like 1 more time, actually. So he'll end up pulling out like the 60 clarities and the 30 mangoes.
Oh, and they're going again, and that's what they need to be careful of, is hitting level 2 on Saberlight. You always need to be careful of the lucky shot, because Moon Meander just does so much more damage when that minus armor is active, and they're going to get their levels pretty freely here, because Prada can't really get a pull-off versus
Mid.
the Shaman. Yeah, Bryle.
This was the lane you were talking about that was going to be not only the important one when it comes to the ping differentiation, but the fact that you're playing against Storm Spirit Bryle, one of his more signature heroes, versus a lane that doesn't really win.
And we talked about a little bit yesterday with these Storm Spirit matchups. If you can even just eke out a little bit of a level lead, get a few more denies than you're supposed to get, then you really need to be scared of that Storm Spirit, because you pop level 6 on Storm Spirit first, then he's a threat, then he has that ultimate ability. And same goes for Robo-Z. You're able to finally make rotations once you have the step, but Robo-Z is definitely feeling the pressure. He was able to get his bottle out, but these 4-minute runes are really going to be quite important for both mid laners.
I mean, do the supports really have the ability to kind of rotate around? I guess Wiz actually can rotate perfectly fine to mid to get this confirmed, but I really feel like the Clockwork can't leave. Well, I say that, though. Prada has been at very low HP the whole entire game. But Moon Meander...
Yeah, I was watching bottom.
The Moon Meander value TP under the mid there, gets the bottle out to the Storm Spirit long before Void Spirits gets filled. There's no one nearby either, so... He's already got the Vortex spec.
Yeah, and it's a great rotation from Moon. You just give Saberblade a little bit more space. Once he has level 4, that second level of Lucky Shot really is quite annoying. And Prada he's been doing his job. He's been trying to get the pulls off for the Medusa, but again, he's kind of locked down here. He can't really leave. He needs to stay if Moon Meander's staying here, and only when Moon Meander rotates out he can really do anything. But Again, he has to wait for his courier to come. He's a little bit too low to do anything in the lane right now. A Widge is coming for these runes.
I mean, they got to confirm it, but you could see that Undying with Dubu here. I mean, Dubu's level 3.
Oh,
And he doesn't have anything spec'd up yet. Oh, it's
that's
a regen
unlucky.
bot. Oh, man.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
I
he
mean,
can do about it.
Yeah, Void's got it. That's like literally
luck of the rune.
the best rune to get in mid. Because the DD rune will help you end up getting a kill. That's great. And the haste rune can maybe set up a gank rotation. But a regen is basically you reset the lane.
And it's just all that, it's regen that he no longer needs to buy. He can really just maintain in this lane, and you'll see Bryle kind of give up, go to the jungle now, and actually kills bottom.
Oh, yep, they are looking for this kill on Moon Meander. He does have the Hex available. He does have another Ether Shock in one. Well, it's just going to go out in the Prada, though. There's nothing nothing you really can do about that one. I mean, all
Now
of
the Orb
Unknown's
of
heroes are
Corrosion.
very low HP.
Yes. I mean, Saberlight, he has the Orb of Corrosion now, so this Clockwork needs to be even more careful. If he gets a little bit too close, then he's just going to be able to slow him up so much.
Yeah, you get the lucky shot, you get the corrosion proc. Not really a proc, but you know.
Stupendous.
And you could already see
Looks like Bryle might make an attempt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's level 6. There's no ward to scout it out. He's going to open with the Hex out onto Prada. Moon Meander might go down with this one, but they'll still find the kill on Prada.
Yeah, and he
Meander
has
does
to
not go
respect
down.
him. Having to respect the Pango and the Storm Spirit, I mean, now it's going to be up to Robo Z. He will be able to make rotations of his own now that he is going to be level 6, but I mean, the lanes are very difficult to gank. This Slardar's had a very rough time up against the gyro. You see Tomato already pulling away very heavily. He already has a Falcon Blade.
Is this Brax?
Brax?
Brax? Brax?
This is just the secret of NA. And they're gonna scout up Prada top as well, so they might make an even crazier dive onto Burna as soon as they see this.
Well, there's no aggressive Dire Ward really scouting it out yet, but, well, I say that, though. They see it now. They know. So they know that it's definitely there. You see Dubu.
And with the
he's
Storm Spirit on, or the Haste Rune on Bryle.
Yeah, he could actually just run on over there. And, I mean, this will edge him ever closer to that Orchid. And this is a game that is kind of revolving around that Orchid pickup time as well. Because that will stop the aggression that could come out from Burna.
And the timings, I mean, the timing just feels so right for Undying. As soon as Saberlight hits this level 6, I believe he's got boots coming on the courier. And with this Orb of Corrosion, I mean, he can always go top.
They missed the arrow.
Prada.
They were trying to go for the kill on Prada, but they still end up getting the jump and follow-up bash combo. I think Prada will be fine here. He's going to end up having
Bryle's
out
coming
with
in hot.
about 100 HP. But there's that haste rune on Bryle like you were talking about. They'll find the trade on Prada. They want Drakeel. That's the bigger trade that they want to go for. But playing a little bit too careful here. They don't want to lose too much. Actually drops the TP. Cancels the TP. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, like you were talking about, they saw the opportunity and went straight for Burna. And they will kill off this Gorgon.
Ooh.
Eventually. There it goes. But
Oh,
it looks like they'll
Prada.
trade off Moon Meander, but at the same time, Prada, yeah, he's jumping in there with a full duration Maledict. In fact, Moon Meander finds the Hex. He's fine.
What? And I was just going to... Oh, Dubu? He's walking here. I think Dubu might be gone.
Yeah, the Remnant goes out, but it actually is going to go left instead. Dubu, I mean, Saber is going to start quelling some of these trees here. He's going to have to get...
Quite a few trees out of the way.
Yeah, I think it's like 1, 2, 3.
Well, he's going to be down there for 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's just going to TP out as soon as it's ready to go. Robo Z wants to hunt him, though. Oh, Jesus.
Hold your breath, Dubu.
He's just like, this is where I live now. This is my life.
You see top, he got another rune on Bryle, trying to play up against Drakeel, but he knows something is up. He doesn't want to feed top.
I mean, that's the best thing about a Slardar, right, is that he has this high survivability in the form of just having 2 stuns available. So if
Oh,
he
and
does
he's
get
so
caught,
afraid.
he can get
Oh,
out.
they see him.
Yeah, they throw the rocket with the follow-up. They even drop the call down, and, well, this looks like it's a dead fish. Bryle's going to pour into him, but RoboZ looking to find this trade on Tomato.
This is not
Zip
good.
in from Bryle, actually. This is not a good position for RoboZ. They have a lot of stuns available.
Help's coming, though.
Now they do have some help coming in the form of Prada. The arrow goes through, actually. This is huge if they end up getting this kill out onto Bryle here. He does have enough of the mana for a zip out, but Tomato will likely be one of these two trades. They want to make sure to get something on the way out, but Bryle, he spent way too much time here.
Perfectly played from Unknown. They were really good at kiting it out. They were splitting the damage from the rocket barrage so well, and Prada was just a little bit too tanky for them. He did so much damage with his battery assault, and RoboZ at the same time kiting it out, and they bring enough heroes, and that's so important with these early game rotations. They brought enough heroes to actually make the punish. They didn't rotate half-assedly. But at the same time, Saberblite's taking your offlane tower already.
I mean, he's had a pretty free game overall. That bot lane was continually uncontested, and they had a couple kills with that one. Oh, apparently there's an audio line between Pango and Pango and Gyrocopter.
And now all they need to do is sync up on Unknown a little bit more with these carts. Medusa's going to farm. Any rotation they make now is going to be space for the Medusa now that she can, I think, kind of efficiently farm Ancients or Ancient stacks.
Is this... Wait, is the silence already coming out for Storm? He canceled it on his build. Hang on. Find the slow.
No.
I mean, he has to end up specking his ult if he wants to live, but
Nope.
he's already pre-specced. He's just it. That's just... You don't want to be losing Medusa lives this early. He's already down one.
And again, Bryle got a regen rune. The raindrop.
Did it save it? It did.
It saved it.
Raindrop Pog. They are going to be able to disengage, though. They drop the call down from behind, as you do see them going for this engagement onto Prada while Prada was trying to go for him. But they'll find the trade, and RoboZ will be next to fall, and Wish just has to leap out of there. It's 4 heroes dead very early into this game.
And at the same time, Dude got a solo kill top. He killed the Slardar by himself.
Yeah, this is a hard net worth game overall. You're looking at some of these net worth picks at the moment, and you see it's just their highest is the 4.1k Void Spirit. And it's not like Void even had that hard of a lane. It's obviously you don't win against the Storm, but he didn't I don't think he died in lane, right? There wasn't any solo
he
picks.
didn't. And
Yes.
it's not even that I think he was getting outlaned. It's just they're not able to contest these runes. They're kind of falling behind a little heavily on their supports. And I mean, Bryle has gotten, I think, 3 of the 4 runes, and each one has done something. The Invis rune led to the Slardar kill. The Haze rune led to his own pickoffs. And
smoke.
I mean, I think this is the other Oblivion staff. Or is this Orchid?
Yeah, Unknown
That's
break the
Orchid.
smoke, and that's the Orchid.
he
They
missed.
reveal it, and the rest of Undying are on the back lines. They go for the support, but, I mean, Witch Doctor's level 8. Like, their supports are farmed. If they want to use ults, they can. And Dubu just digs a hole in front of him.
And they ping the Arcane rune, and the Storm Spirit's having such a good game.
Looks like he's going to go for the Bounding Rune first. Top it off there, and then grab the Arcane Rune and run it down mid, most likely. And that smoke broken immediately, just finding them nothing at all.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Well, and now, I mean, yesterday we talked a lot about winning your lanes versus winning the team fight and whether or not you're okay with how some of these lanes are going. But with this Slardar pick, your team fight is really not that strong. It's really not a lot. And Slardar hasn't been able to rotate out of his lane because that's just not what his hero does. You're not going to gank mid with the Slardar. You're not going to play with your supports very much as a Slardar. And Brow's just going to start playing on you with this Orchid.
Yep, goes in for this kill on Wish, but they will end up throwing out the Stone Gaze, but still able to get the kill.
Still with the Arcane Rune, he has to be so careful.
RoboZ playing a little bit aggressively maybe, but I say that as he is going to put Tomato down to half, and they will get this jump on the Dubu, breaking his death ward, but they will end up pushing out the fight. They put this Medusa at a very low HP rate, 3 dead for
Tomato.
Unknown almost immediately. However, Tomato will be traded off, but bounce after bounce after bounce. There's no way for this Slardar to escape. And Bryle will take this triple kill home.
And Brow's just accelerating his game so much. It's unfortunate you do lose the gyro, but a 4-man wipe this early in the enemy triangle. I mean, Medusa is not getting the farm that she needs to carry this one.
Yeah, you can see it. She's struggling just to finish this Manta. I think she just finished the Yasha.
is under attack.
And you're right, it's just there's no farm now on the map. You can't really go anywhere. You could see them drawing on the map. They're like, get this tower and then take the last domination tower.
Z.
But immediately zipping in there with the silence, he's just straight dead. Maledict plus the burn damage from the Orchid Afterburner.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And we already see, I mean, he's going for the Yules now, but
Wiz
another
solo
kill
dying in
mid.
mid. Was it solo? No, it was full spells from Shadow Shaman.
Yes, and he has, I mean, he already has Aether Lens on Moon Meander, and this is the issue. Undying is just playing so well. The supporting cast has so many levels, and you see, they're just running. Burna can't even exist in his own jungle, and this is the other strength of Gyrocopter. Just has so much strength to bring to these early team fights that he's just now taking all of the Medusa's farm. Medusa's just getting the kind of scraps left over, because you see in Undying, they're playing in the entire enemy team's jungle right now.
Yeah, like, why farm your jungle if you got a perfectly good dire or Radiant jungle to work
Good
in?
hook.
That being said, though, the arrow goes through. They find the hook combo out on the Moon Meander, puts their supports down, but Shaman didn't have wards for another 5 seconds anyway. See Saberlight pumping the roll. Maybe
You need to be so careful here. Undying were just a little bit disjointed for a second there, and they were going to fix it. Oh, they might clash on the bounties.
We'll get hit by an arrow there. Wish throws out the urn. The Remnant still manages the latch. Robo Z is going to jump up to the high ground. Bryle still with enough mana to get a silence and zip off. He's just trying to find the right one to silence and zip on, but Burna pops ult, and Saberlight's already rolling and rolling, so they're not even going to walk in. Stone Gay is unable to find anything.
They're just full retreat, and there's nothing they can do. They are going to TP out on a lot of heroes. And again, Bryle with the haster, and he didn't have to use very much of his mana. He might even have enough to make a play on the Slardar mid.
They're mass
again, they're just running. And that's all that Unknown really can do. Now that they've used their teamfight ults, you don't have spells on Robo Z, you have to run away. Really, the only spell they have at their disposal is this Prada hookshot. And they do have it up again, but that's the only play you can make on the map, and Undying are just going to continue to eat everything up.
Yeah, this feels like a very hard attempted return game. But crazier things have happened. Medusas usually find some way to turn it around. However, this game does not feel like that scenario is possible as Bryle tries to solo pick off Robo Z. They will find it, but the Clockwork jumps in and Bryle with no mana. But they don't want to overextend, but I mean, looks like you're given no choice as Drakeel will go down to a Shaman ward circle as well as the follow-up damage. And they'll just go for the mid tower. They've got the wards already down, why not?
Well, and you saw with that one play Unknown tried to make, they caught him at a good time where they were slightly separated on Undying because they are trying to play in all 3 lanes to take the map. But whenever they sync up, I don't think Unknown can win a fight. They need to buy time and start splitting the map, but then again, you don't have the most mobile of heroes. You see Burna's actually farming the enemy team's jungle because there's nowhere else. And if they catch wind of him, there's literally nothing he can do. If they get sight of this Medusa,
when this courier flies through. And you can see that Tomato has drawn on the map.
Oh,
no.
Ships in the night.
No, I'm pretty sure that just like, how did they just not see them? That was definitely within night range. Because isn't night 1200?
Yes.
That was not even 1200. Like that was.
If anything,
like,
maybe the Medusa
maybe
definitely
6.
saw him, but Tomato maybe did not picture it. But trying to force this Roche, they're not even necessarily wanting to take this Roche. They just want to force Unknown out of the base, and I don't even think Unknown are going to leave their base. They're gonna instead take the farm. They know exactly what's going on. They already used Moonlight Shadow, so they need to finish these small items. They need Blink Dagger, they need Yules on Robo Z, they need a lot more farm to even contest with Undying at this point.
They need neutrals too. They have been denied of their jungle almost entirely. They're sitting on 0 items in general circles. But
Burna.
Immediately with that bot tower was still available, they get the TP in and they throw out the cast. And well, Burna does manage to pop his ult, and they find this kill on Saberlight in trade. And actually, they get 2 for this one. Bryle have to zip out of there ASAP.
And that was a perfect start to that fight. Bryle, I think, used a little bit too much mana. He did get the good jump, but again, they sort of started to run before they could walk. They were just fighting before Tomato could realistically get there, before Moon could even get there. And the fight does go south side up, and that's the power of this Medusa. You still have to expend a lot of resources to kill her. And if you can start the fight on Saberlight, that is the ideal. If Saberlight gets to roll around, you really can't kill him in roll. You don't have enough farm on the Medusa yet. That if he's able to play his game, then it's really going to be rough. And they're trying to snowball it. They're trying to find Tomato now.
Well, Prada does see
Oh,
it for a
Prada.
split second.
Radiant
You
are
can see him running
scanning.
around. They drop a scan, though, on top of the creep wave. So unable to find anything there. They actually circle it, though. Tomato just reading it perfectly. Can't find the clockwork. That's actually my favorite thing to talk about when there's a clockwork in the game. If you know that clockwork's ult is up, he's level 6 somewhere, like, there, you always have to be afraid. Because that hook shot could come out of nowhere.
And that is the strength of Prada's lineup is if you are able to get these lanes out, you can look for mistakes in Undying, mistakes that they can definitely punish. But if Undying just sync up again, I mean, BKB is on the table now for Gyro. I don't know if he's got an item coming out, but the Storm Spirit still feels like he's got such a free game. I mean, 10-1 and 5, Bryle is still
Well, they
the
moonlight.
most powerful hero.
Bryle zips in immediately, trying to get the jump on the Prada. He already dropped the battery, though. Bryle trying to find anybody. He throws out the silence and a good shackle of the setup wards. They will find this kill on Void Spirit. No, actually, they find the trade. They get Prada for the trade on Moon Meander, but they actually have to buy back on the clockwork immediately if they want to get anything else going for this one.
Berna.
Berna in trouble. The
Sorta.
Blink Dagger reveal from Jakeel, maybe trying to save it, but unable to find the save. Jakeel will go down as well.
And that's the unfortunate thing. You buy back on Clockwork, but you already used your hook, so you really just TP in and walk away because you couldn't save your Medusa.
I just realized we're actually still running on the Aegis. I forgot that they took this Roshan forever ago, so Bryle can actually just play as aggressive as he wants.
Yeah, and it's not even a too old of an Aegis. He still has 2 minutes to do basically whatever. And again, whenever you lose the map versus a Storm Spirit, it just gets so difficult because every single rune is his. Every single rune is so effective on his hero. And once he gets Bloodstone, I mean, they're already kind of pressed for lockdown. He's already able to jump whoever he wants. It feels like they're just going to continue to lose out on their map, and they're going to be stuck on the high ground.
And they don't really have like a good hero that could do that high ground defense. The best you've really got is maybe just dropping stuff on top of the Slardar and maybe the Void Spirit. But as you can see here, the Void Spirit is going to get picked, though. Moon Meander is going to get arrowed in the back lines, but with enough rolling out damage, they will find this kill. They get the trade out onto Moon, but lose Prada at the same. They might want to hold back for the time being, but I mean, Aegis is still live. There's other tier 2 towers they can still get. But I mean, this game is still heavily in Undying's favor control-wise.
Well, and we typically see in this Void versus Storm Spirit matchup that the matchup turns on its head whenever the Ags comes out. What happened?
The Saberlight pinged out that the Quicksilver amulet was on the ground. Or no, Bryle did. He pinged the Quicksilver on the ground, and then he dropped his Fairy Fire and picked up the amulet. And then
I see.
Gyro came to go pick it up, and it was the Fairy Fire.
I see. They're holding it out for each other. Tomato's got some more slots.
I mean, he's waiting for that Quicksilver. You can see Bryle's just holding on to it. He's like, nah, you're not getting it. It's my item now. It's my backpack neutral.
But now, I mean, they're going to be able to push into this top tower. And again, this is sort of the issue with the Berna Medusa is just, he's the only one really accelerating. I mean, we see RoboZ, he's got a full Ags queued up. He has enough gold for one component. And until he gets that, I mean, Saberlight has a free game. Storm Spirit has a free game. And, I mean, they're circling the tower because they see no heroes showing on Undying. But with the Aegis gone, they do have to be slightly more careful. But now Bloodstone picked up.
Yeah, all
The
of the
snowball is quite hard.
They are beyond farmed, and they just want to keep running at them. But it was like you're saying, they're playing it so safe. They're working with what vision they actually have. Though it looks like the solo smoke is up, and Saberlight just keeps pumping that roll. They will end up starting this fight now, though. They're rolling for Prada, while Berna does end up popping the ult. Insta-killing Moon Meander in the backline. Jakeel goes for this Witch Doctor, and he's just straight dead as well. So the supports of Undying unable to get their spells off.
core
It's
is
the same story, and yep, there's the wards burning away. They will end up getting this kill on Berna. Jakeel trying to escape, but you got a rocket on him. So all you got to do is really chase the man. Saberlight, bash, lucky procs. No, nothing. Doesn't have a basher. Can't proc it anyway.
Radiant's middle tower
We'll be able to
is under
escape, but
attack.
I mean, they've lost quite a bit here with the Medusa being dead. There's no real contest for walking up this high ground. There's no silence on the Void Spirit yet.
Well, and you saw in that fight, they just weren't able to get the start. If Saberlight's ever able to get a roll-off, they had a great hook shot starting off onto Bryle, but they just don't have enough damage to burst them. So you see they switch targets to the supports, and they get them, but the cores are just too strong on Undying at this point. You really need to just delay the game as much as possible and look for more opportunities because you don't really have that full product.
Kyle zips
Oh, good
in
kill.
with full mana. They find this kill on the Prada, but they return and get this kill on Bryle with the arrow going in there, but they trade off with Robo Z, and they're not done yet. Tomato wants to keep on clicking, though. Berna does reveal, but the roll is going to be there with the Blink Dagger from Saber. They will end up getting the trade on Witch as well. They lose 3 for the price of Bryle. Still a good pick for them to take, but it's... You want the Void Spirit to be living in these transactions. He's one of the few heroes that needs the gold to kind of make the comeback, and he's not living in fights. He's the target in fights.
And that's the issue with this, not even with his build, but just being so impoverished. And whenever you're stuck on your high ground, it is just the Medusa. Medusa's the only one that's going to continuously get items. I mean, we see Drakil, he's trying to get a BKB for himself, but even at this point, it's going to feel so difficult. And with Storm dead, the pressure on the map does cease a little. He really is the instigator for a lot of these skirmishes, but even with the Scotty on Berna, I feel like Undying can really take this game at whatever pace they want. And Roche might respawn in 20 seconds, and the earlier the better for Undying, because they just want to keep on diving. It was a good punish, though, on Bryle. He did get a little bit ahead of himself there.
I mean, it's what happens when you zip in and you you look at your mana pool and you're like, oh no.
I don't blame him, though. I mean, he was 15-1-9 before that death. He really doesn't feel too bad, I think, especially if Tomato can clean up the way he did, because now Tomato is, I mean, he's top of the net worth, he's leading, and he's a very scary hero.
He finally got the Quicksilver as well, by the way.
Very nice.
You know, Bryle died, so he had to put it in the bank. Yeah, they're just not even concerned on dying. They just throw out the wards immediately. They do go invis. They know that this happened as Moonmeander blinked in. Does have wards on the field already, so you just see Dubu goes in, immediately drops the death ward. He will get clicked down though by Moonmeander with the backlines as well. Robo Z finds that one. Saberlight's actually very low here. The Scotty reveal is actually preventing them from walking up the high ground.
And it was a little bit of a crazy jump from Moon. He didn't have a way out as soon as he blinked in, and it was Prada with the fantastic cogs that kind of stalled out the fight. And you're right, with the Scotty reveal on the high ground, the most successful defense we've seen out of Unknown. And Undying have to be so careful with their jumps. If they do let themselves get stunned up, they can really get comboed, especially with the damage amp coming out from Corrosive Haze. And Roshan respawns as well. So that's going to be the next point of contention for these teams.
Was a 37-second respawn when we looked at it earlier, and you do see Drakil will be the first to reveal it, and Unknown, like, they want to fight for this. They're going to do everything they can to control this Roshan, but you see that the rest of Undying are lining up. They want to go check this Rosh. The smoke is available. They pick up Dubu's courier outside as well, so they know that there is something going on inside this Rosh pit.
And we see this Observer Ward combo a lot nowadays. They're going to scout it out immediately, though. And now they're going to be coming into the Rosh blind. They do have Clockwork Flare, and going into Rosh versus Clockwork is always quite scary, so they're going to look for kills instead.
Well, Flare goes out.
They got it.
Commander finds Wish, and this is just straight dead. This is not entirely still the pick that is the go-to one for them to take, but with the arrow being down. Okay, well, yeah, they had the buyback immediately if they want to defend the Rosh. Perfect read by Wish.
And as soon as you see that, you immediately see them turn around. They want to fight and then take Rosh, if anything, because there is a possibility fighting versus Medusa versus the Stone Gaze in the pit. You never know what could happen because you really do have to run, especially if he's going to get in there as soon as the Roshan's about to die. But at the same time, you've got Pango in the pit. Pango, I mean, neither team wants to give up Rosh, but neither team can really openly start the fight. As we see, even all of the Unknown heroes very well positioned. And they need to be so careful. If anybody gets caught top, it's going to be the Roche for free.
Well, they are going to start it. The flare goes out. It will reveal that Saberlight's at least in the pit. Gets bashed 3 times. He's at half HP. He's going to keep on pumping the roll. The arrow goes through.
Yeah, they're pinging these heroes. They saw the direction that the flare came from, so they know that somebody is up here. Yeah, Moon is just trying to find people hiding.
Well, Dubu's about to run into Prada, while Moon Meander as well. They will get the shackle, the combo, the wombo, and they find the kill, but they might be able to trade off Moon Meander.
No.
Prada has to buy back immediately if they want it, but Robo Z gets picked as well. Saberlight needs to roll out of there, but using the roll up gives him that little advantage. Coming back in with very low HP to make sure he gets the stun lock, and they will indeed stun lock them in, but Bryle on the sideline losing a lot of HP. His mana is still good, and they will find this double kill, the dieback from the Clockwork. Drakeel hanging out in the pit. Blinks up to the high ground, though. There's no ward to scout it, but Bryle with his limited mana pool zips back in. Moon Meander. There's the
got
Hex. And that is most likely the kill out onto Slardar.
And you saw it was an absolutely perfect read from Undying. They weren't going to let themselves keep getting flared, and they just catch a little wind. They get a little hint on where the Clockwork was playing. They even saw him coming towards him on Prada with this ward that they have right here, but it was just a little too late, and the Storm was just able to capitalize on any lockdown that, and Moon's not done. He's getting even more heroes up here.
Find Wish and Voodoo Switcheroo. That is definitely enough damage, and Ryle comes in for the finish up.
23 Bloodstone charges, and he can really be anywhere, and that's sort of the issue with Unknown's draft. And you gotta kind of see it coming, because, I mean, the man is Bryle, but you don't have enough lockdown for the Storm. You were able to kill him that one time when he dove a little bit too far, but now he's got Cheese on board, he's got an Ag Scepter now, and this is the issue of late game Storm Spirit. And a Regen Rune now as well.
Yeah, he is primed, for sure. Bryle is, I mean, we got the Ags like you were talking about. We have our basically black hole.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's very small range still with Ags. I thought it increased range at one point. Oh, boy, he zips in.
Oh,
They want to go immediately for the kill on the Pango, but Drakeel is actually the target here. Curl up, rolls back in. Blink Dagger's not up, so why not just roll back?
and Brown just bought 6 Clarities and just sent him out immediately. And I mean, now the reason this Ags is so good as well is just Tomato is going to be your tower siege. He's got the Aghanim Scepter already flying out on the courier, and these heroes are going to have to group up. They're going to have to try and burst him down for just his first life, but not even with the BKB on Storm. He's just going to sit in the backlines and just wait, and I think the siege is already going to start.
Luckily arrowed that cannon, though. Clockwork does go out. They do manage to put
drag back
underneath, but he does have BKB and Aegis, so they drop the global, and the black hole basically goes down in the form of the electric vortex. So Bryle, though, sitting at very low mana, he will pop the cheese, and Tomato with the BKB still available if they want to get this. I mean, they don't even need the BKB. They find the kill on Berta. And RoboZ trying to at least put down some remnants to slow this down, but this siege is happening. Undying will take this set of racks and tower and either walk mid and take the next set or just end it.
With no buyback on Medusa, there's nothing stopping them at this point, and I feel like we're going to see the G's just dropped pretty soon here. It's just going to be a little bit too little time. And every single pick Moon gets.
Yeah, Moon Meander is playing out of his mind here with this early Blink Dagger pickup. You've been seeing just consistent Shackle Hex combos, and yeah, Unknown, they're just done. We'll drop the GG and we'll move on into the next game.
And they just played so well around their lineup. I mean, this is not a lineup we haven't seen them pull off before. If anything, this was just a very cut and dry Undying draft, Undying game. They got, I mean, what, four of their 5 best heroes. And even Tomato, while it's not officially proven, I mean, he's a beast on the gyro anyway. And I feel like you need to have a little bit of a better idea. Maybe something sneaky coming out from Unknown to beat them, because that was cut and dry. They played their best Dota versus Undying's best Dota, and Undying were simply better. They played so well around each other. It really felt like the snowball was never going to end for them.
Well, luckily, it is a best of 2 series. That's right, chat. I'm going to say it like that from now on. I saw an angry post on Twitter about people thinking that there was a crusade against me saying best of 2. But this is a best of 2 series in our... I lost what I was going to say. Group stage, that's the word. So
That's the word.
that's the word. But it is a best of 2 series. They still have a chance to take a game off of Undying, but I mean, with that opening showing, it might be kind of hard because you let any specific number of heroes through, and Undying have very good specialty players.
They've got a very deep hero pool, and even when they don't get their, I mean, Saberlight Pango is always a joy to see, but I think Unknown just need to polish up their draft a little bit, and they can still definitely take a game off them. This was just a dominant performance.
And it also is the first game of the day, so maybe it's still a little bit rusty. Who knows? Maybe these guys have been playing pubs all morning. I know I haven't been playing pubs all morning. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll have game number 2 of Team Unknown versus Undying right around the corner. Don't go far.